Hello everybody, my name is Christina Wehbe and I'm a portrait photographer. This video is to review the Nikon Z7 camera that I've been using in the studio for 3 weeks and to tell you my experience with it as a photographer and filmmaker and what is my opinion on the features that I've been using so far. And I'm also going to show you some sample photos that I've shot with it with the native lens, the 70 to the 24-70 Z mount, and with my 50 and 85 millimeter 1.4 50. I have a 50 Sigma 1.4 and the 85 millimeter 1.4 lenses, and my honest opinion why you should or you should not get this camera. First of all, spoiler alert, I have this camera for 3 weeks now. I just ordered another one and I sold my 4 other cameras on eBay. I love this camera and here's why. It's not perfect for everybody and I'll tell you why. I come from a background of being a wedding photographer for so many years, and I'm a portrait photographer. I do boudoir and I do cooking videos. If you go to my other YouTube channel, Christina Wehbe Studios, you're gonna find a lot of cooking videos shot with my D800s. All of my wedding photos are shot with my D4S, and this video is going to my opinion, my personal opinion, why this camera is the best camera on the market so far. Again, my honest opinion. So first of all, let's talk about the grip. So I'm not showing you this camera because I'm shooting this video with it. So you tell me if you like it. I'm shooting, I think, ISO 2500. So you let me know if you like the video quality. But the video quality is superb. It's you can shoot slow-mo in the camera, and you can shoot HD at 120 frames per second, which is great if you like slow, kind of like creamy shots. And if you like to if you want to use the 4K full capability, it's great at 30 frames per second. That's still pretty decent, people. And this is what I'm going to mention about the video. The autofocus tracking is fantastic. If you have a face, it can, like, I don't really track anything. I use the video on manual because that's how I've been doing it for so long, and that's how I'm sticking to it because it works for me. But if you like to track, if you're shooting like a home video or something that is not for a client, I would use the face tracking, and it's fabulous. Talking about the grip. Okay, so the grip of this camera, again, I don't have it in my hand because I'm shooting this video with it. My full, and I'm a 5'8" girl, so these are not small hands for a girl, okay? So all of my fingers sit on the grip. With Sony, which I played with for a little while, sorry Nikon, I wasn't gonna cheat on Nikon, but I kind of like to play with new gear, okay? So with Sony, this finger would fall a little bit, and those, like, at some point this here starts to hurt. So with this camera, all of my fingers, and I was really worried about that because I'm like, oh, she's gonna give us Nikon's gonna give us mirrorless and it's gonna be like Sony, and I'm like, no, this is really good. So all of my fingers fit in, it's perfect, you know, ergonomically it's really fantastic camera. I really love it. I love how it feels in my hand. It's very lightweight, even with the lens, it's very lightweight. There's the adapter. It's not really an adapter. Yeah, it is an adapter, not a converter. So the adapter is also fantastic when you want to use it with your other F-mount Nikon cameras because you have the full capability, the VR, the autofocus, everything with your other Nikon lenses you can use with this camera. And instead of having 5-axis out of VR, you have 3-axis VR. I mean, like, oh, downgrade. Not really, it's still great. So the autofocus is fantastic, the VR is fantastic. I've been shooting a lot with the lens that came with it. Why? Because the distortion is not comparable to what I have with my 24-70 VR 2.8 f-mount. That lens is my least favorite lens. I use it only for cocktail hour and events because, like, you can't zoom with your feet sometimes. I'm somebody who likes to crop in the camera, so I don't like to zoom in and out. I just like to use prime lenses, but for events and cocktail hour, you really need like the 24-70. And this 24-70 have zero well, I don't want to say zero. If I get too close to the face, there's a little bit of distortion, but it's normal. If you can lollipop somebody with these kind of lenses. but it's really much better than what we had, and it's f4, which brings me to thinking, like, why would you, what, like, I mean, you have the Z mount, give us 1.2, like at least 1.4, like, why give us f4? Like, oh, here's a great camera, oh, f4 lens, like, okay, I'll still buy it, Nikon, okay, I love this camera and I love this lens, but I mean, give us something to kind of like tease Nikon, tease the Canonites, and kind of like say, oh, we did something better. No, we didn't do something much better. We just like, we matched Sony, like, you know, we have better quality, of course. Listen, I have loyalty to this brand. I've been shooting Nikon for almost 14 years. And I've played with other cameras. I've played with Canon, I played with Fujifilm, I played with Panasonic, I played with Sony, and I really don't like other, it's just me. This is my opinion, right? This is just me. I like the quality, I like the dynamic range. This camera has fantastic dynamic range. If you're like me, if you're somebody like me who likes a lot of highlights and shadows, and I will show you samples of my photos. I do a lot of like Hollywood style highlights and shadows. I want good dynamic range and not to be worried about like having the dark too dark or the light too light. And this camera is great. So one of the things that makes me like, oh, roll my eyes, because I know as soon as the Z8 is coming out, or whatever Z number is gonna come out, it's gonna have 2 slots in there. I'm going to buy it because this camera have only 1 slot in there, and I know those cards are made to fail. Like, those cards are like, it's XQD card, great, thank you so much Nikon, but it's still made to fail. I've never had an XQ card fail on me. I only had a CF card fail on me once. And it was really, okay, I gotta tell you about this. So it was the bride is coming with her father. You know, it was at a wedding, and she was coming down the aisle, and I'm shooting with my D4S, 11 frame per second. They can't beat that. Like, my camera just like card error. And I take the first card out, still error, put it back in, take the second card out, close my camera and shoot, and she's like not even halfway through the aisle. Like, I've had a card fail on me, and the worst time any card can fail on you is like when the bride is coming down the aisle. That was really scary. But you know what? Like, having the 2 cards, I would never shoot a wedding with camera with 1 card. So Nikon, get your game together and get us a camera with 2 slots so I can shoot weddings next year with 2 camera slots, because otherwise I'm gonna have to get something to bet. And I sold my D4S. I just sold it. Do you know why? Because I think mirrorless is the new like, you know how film camera, like I have two shelves in my studio of film cameras that are fantastic. I used them in school, they were great, but they're now like just like, oh, vintage, they're analog. They're like 20 years old, they're analog. And this is what I feel DSLR is going to. So I already sold my DSLRs because I feel if I don't sell now, within 6 months the quality is gonna drop, and I don't wanna lose more money that I'm already losing. So I already sold all of my DSLR, and hopefully I'm going to be able to, hopefully soon you guys are gonna release something that's going to have 2 slots in there, because we really need we need two slots cameras. So let's talk about the battery life. The battery life, this is the EN-EL15B, which is double, to me, my observations, double life of battery that is the 15A. I mean, from what I used in the studio, from photos and videos, it's double the life. Some people, they're saying not quite as much, but for me it worked. You know, that's what matters, what works for you. Okay, so let's talk about the touch screen, which to me, I never played with the D5 because I got my D4S, and a few months later the D5 was released, and I'm not a gearhead like before anymore. Like, I don't like, I should say I don't buy the new camera right away, but I just bought this camera because I couldn't wait. I bought 2, but I come from the D4S. I'm not like, oh, D5 and waiting for the next camera right away. So I come from the D4S, that's like few years. So I'm really good now, right? But coming from the D4S and not having a touch screen, and then having the touch screen that you can control your menu from, is magnificent. It's like, I love shooting again. I don't know, it's like, really good. You know, it's like, it feels like more, okay, it feels better. Okay, so I have a list in here of things that I want to talk about. We talked about the autofocus, which is fantastic. I wouldn't use the autofocus continuous. They didn't get that 100% right. From my experience says that DZ7 does not have AFC perfect yet, but the autofocus, the AFS is just right on, like dead focus. Like, I'm going to show you some photos as soon as possible, but let me finish the things I want to talk about. So the 493 focus points. With my D4S, I mean, I'm somebody who crops in camera. I zoom in with my feet and I zoom out with my feet. I don't like to crop in Photoshop and delete those really good pixels. So having the focus points where I can focus right here, like if my subject, if the eye, usually I focus on the eye closest to the camera. So if my eye, like for example, if I'm shooting a beauty shot and I want something right here, sometimes I have to like crop a little bit wider so I can focus on the eye I want. With this camera, you can't. You can focus right here. Like, it's like 493 focus points. That's like, oh, amazing. Like, fantastic. You can tell I'm excited about this camera, right? Okay, we talked about the single XQD card. No, Nikon, like, this is really not cool. Like, you know we need two. Like, why would you do this to us? Like, this is not fair. You know we're gonna buy this camera. Like, it's the first Nikon mirrorless. I'm gonna buy this camera. But it's not right. Like, give us something that's better than what's out there. Not matching what Sony have. Give us better. We love you. Be good back to us. And we would pay for it. Just give us the gear, okay? So the adapter works perfectly. I thought initially, because I've used adapters on cameras before, adapters don't really, like, they degrade the quality of the shots. But with this adapter, whatever you get from your other camera, you're gonna get from this camera when you shoot with it. So the adapter is perfect. Get the adapter with it. Use it with all of your Nikon lenses. The focus is fantastic. Again, we talked about the video. And we talked about the battery, the stabilization of the lenses. It's super sharp, super stable. We talked about the AFS and the AFC, the autofocus lock, and the native ISO. That's what we got to talk about. My other camera had native ISO of 100. Again, I'm somebody who likes shadows and highlights, so I really like dark shadows. And native ISO of 64 is really fantastic. So thank you, Nikon. Okay, so let's open those just to show you how super sharp this is. Let me just open a couple here. Maybe this one, maybe this one, maybe this one. Okay. So we're gonna put them all to, you know what? I'm not gonna put them to 100. I'm gonna put them to 200 to begin with. Oh, where are we? Okay, so look at this. This is at 200. It's still sharp. People, it's still sharp at 200%. You know what? Let me push this. Let me go to 400. Just because, oh, look at this. I mean, I love this. I love this. Let's look at this one. This is shot outside at, I'm using only a scrim to diffuse sunlight. And this is at 400%. Look at, you can see like the little organisms living between the lashes. I mean, there is none. I'm sorry, model. But I mean, look, if there's any, you would see the little creepy things between the lashes. Look at this. This is fantastic. And this is at 100%. I mean, seriously? Oh, I love this. Look at this beauty. At 100%, where's the face? I can't find the face. Give me the face. Okay. Let's fit in view. Okay, here we are. Look at this. Okay, this is beautiful. We shot this. Let's look at Christina here. Christina, one of my favorite people in the world to work with. She's been the face of my studio. Sorry, my computer is taking a little while to render because it's 2015 model, which I'm upgrading after I get this new camera, which camera is more important to me. Okay, look at this. Okay, so let's go back here. I want to show, so those are taken by Nikon 24-70, okay? And they're fantastic. The dynamic range is great. The autofocus was fantastic. I used it on multiple occasions. I did a workshop. My whole workshop, I did it with the Z7. So these are some photos from the workshop. Let's look at the edited ones. Everything that's not raw, basically. Those are the edited ones. These are from the workshop. These are shot with the 24-70 f4. This is the Z mount. Okay, so let's look at the ones shot by the 85. Look at the bokeh. This is shot at 1.4, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this shot at 1.4. Look at this. I'm going to show you the raw file of this. So this is the raw NEF, see here? And this is like minimum editing. Didn't need, it's like so creamy. I love the bokeh. It's fantastic. Look at this. Obviously edited. Didn't care much for the white balance because I knew I wanted in black and white. Sweet. These are all from my workshop. Like I ran a workshop with the new camera, which was really ballsy of me because I'm somebody who likes to take things safe, but I figured like I've been using it for a few weeks at that time and I'm like, let's do that. And I love it. I absolutely love it. Yeah. So those are shot with my 85 using the adapter. Okay, let's look at the raw file from this, for example. So where is the raw file? From here. So this is the raw file. Okay, it's taking forever. Okay, it's taking forever. Let me show you another one of my favorite. Where Galia? Oh, shot with the Nikon. Oh, okay. Look at this. I'm going to open this today. I promise. Okay, here we go. Look at those shadows. Look at that transition from shadows to highlights. It's still buffering, so it's not sharp yet. Okay, I'll give it 1, 2, 3. Okay, very shortly. Look at that. Look at this. Isn't it beautiful how sharp this is? This is at 66. Let's do another 300%. You still can see, I mean, we're never going to go to 300% unless you're printing for a huge ad. Then you have other softwares that work it, but this is fantastic. Okay, bottom line, people, I'm somebody who comes from long history with Nikon. I think this DSLR is dying. I sold all of my DSLRs because I didn't want the value to go down much, but I really think that we don't need DSLRs anymore. Unless you are a wedding photographer or a sports photographer. If you're a wedding and sports photographer, I wouldn't get this camera for that purpose yet. But I know Nikon, and I know Nikon is going to throw at us a fantastic Z camera in some, hopefully in the near future, for wedding and sports photographers who can use it like in conjunction with those ways of shooting. That's going to work for them. But if you're on the verge, like, do I go mirrorless or do I stay DSLR? In my opinion, this is the beginning of the end for DSLRs. I personally sold my cameras, so I'm staying with the Z7 and the Z line because I love it. Why would I have a DSLR if only for 2 slots camera? I mean, listen, it's really subjective. I'm somebody who, like, my wedding season is done for this year. I'm done shooting weddings for this year. My next wedding is in April. I'm probably going to rent a D5 to shoot that wedding, and I'll have the Z or my 2 Zs as a backup camera. because I would never shoot a wedding without 2 slots, because one of them is gonna fail. And when you don't have 2 slots, one of the cards are definitely gonna fail. This is how it, you know how this is how it happens. When you know, like, oh my God, I'm gonna fail, it's gonna fail. I would never shoot a wedding with this camera yet, just because of the 1 slot and because of the autofocus continuous is not really where it should be yet. But if you're thinking that you're gonna hold your DSLR to love and hold forever, forget it. This is the future. If you can, if you don't need it for weddings and sports, get this camera now. Sell your DSLRs, because the value is gonna drop day by day. So if you like this video, please like it. And if you didn't like anything in here, please let me know in the comments so I can improve my videos. This is my new channel, so it's going to be for photographers and not for my clients. So I call it Wehbe Lux. Lux is light, and the BYB, because why not? Wehbe Lux. So thank you for watching me, and hopefully you will leave a comment. And if there's anything in particular you would like to learn from me, let me know.